Alright, so we're here checking out your biped character. It's looking pretty good. There's still a few issues going on. Of course, you know about the hand, and I'm sure you haven't really had much of a chance to deal with it yet. Okay? Also, I think I forgot to mention this in my last video on your hand, but you actually don't want this fingertip where you've got all of these edges just kind of converging into this one vertex at the end here. Okay, you actually want to use more of a bridging technique for this area. So I'll show you what that looks like briefly. Alright, just gonna grab these faces and get rid of them. Okay, and we're actually gonna just kind of reclose the hand in a way that's gonna make a little more sense for us. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and grab this edge right here. I'm gonna come up to Edit Mesh, Extrude. Alright, and I'm just gonna bring it right up to the top there. I'm gonna use my Merge Vertex tool, Edit Mesh, Merge Vertex, and I'm just going to reconnect that right across there. Okay, so basically, instead of taking this approach where everything is just kind of being sucked into the center here, we're actually going to make it sort of more like a grid kind of orientation. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and add a couple of edge loops on this new face that I've just created. Alright, so I'm going to go with my Insert Edge Loop tool. Just going to plop a couple of edges in there. And, it's better if you're kind of precise about where you're putting your edges. I'm just kind of doing this a little bit quick and dirty just to get through it. Alright, so I'm going to grab this edge as well. On the side here, come up to Edit Mesh, Extrude. I'm going to pull it over this way. Same thing on this side, Edit Mesh, Extrude. Pull it over here. And I'm just going to go ahead and use my Merge Vertex tool to connect those guys. Alright. Oops. Careful there. Can be a little difficult sometimes when you're dealing with areas that have a lot of geometry behind them. Okay. So, just using my Merge Vertex tool to kind of connect those areas. Alright. And I'm also going to grab some more edges here. I'll grab this one, and we'll extrude that. Pull it out a little bit. I'll grab this one over here as well. Pull that out. Just doing a bunch of extrusions here. On this one as well. Okay. And I'm just going to use my Merge Vertex tool again. Nothing too surprising there. And I'm just going to reconnect these to close the gap that I've created. Alright. Alright, so once I'm done with that, it should look something like this, where I can just kind of pull this out, and it gives me a much rounder shape to the tip of the finger than if I were to just go to vertex mode and pull this out, which gives me, kind of a super pointy, like pencil finger, or a super flat one if we bring it in, all right? So that gives us a lot more control over our shaping. Okay, so make sure that you go through on these fingertips and do that. And, of course, once you have done that, it's just a matter of grabbing all these faces and just going to assign existing material, and you're just going to choose your skin material, and it's good as new. Okay, so make sure you go through and deal with the fingers that way, as well as the other things for the hand that we talked about before. Okay, another thing here is we've got basically on the shoulder area here a little bit too much space in this area. All right, I would probably bring this in a little bit, and also this right here. This edge loop I might bring out and pull in a bit to just make that transition a little more gradual, okay? I might bring these over as well, because you don't want it to just kind of have this nice pretty curve going on and then all of a sudden have some really flat, long faces, okay? So just work with those a little bit, okay? Just to make that a little bit less sudden, okay? Alright, so yeah, something like that. A little bit more even spacing you can see on one side as compared to the other, alright? It's just going to improve your shaping quite a bit, alright? Another thing that we want to look at for sure is the legs here. At the moment they're coming out really quite far. Your legs are not actually going to swoop out quite so far from the hips, alright? It should be just sort of standing straight, just underneath the hips, just resting underneath. Now you might see thighs coming out like this on some people, but also the hips then would also be accommodating that, and they would also be swooping out quite a bit. Alright, so on this guy, for this type of body structure, we'll actually want to bring these legs in quite a bit, alright? It helps to look at this from the front, alright? And you'll of course want to go all around and make sure that you're not grabbing anything that you don't want to be grabbing, alright? So this right here I'm going to leave alone for now. Just grab the legs, okay? And I'm just going to move those in closer to one another, okay? So, this is probably not the best approach because I'm also thinning out my legs as I'm doing this. A better bet is going to be just to work on one side of the body at a time, alright? So we'll grab this side, for example, since we've kind of worked with the arm on that side as well. Make sure that you're grabbing all the verts that you want, and none of the ones that you don't. Okay, something like that looks pretty good. And just pull this in. Okay, doesn't have to be too crazy. I'd say something about like that. All right, and when you mirror this over now to the other side, it's actually going to improve the look of your model quite a bit. It's going to make it have a much more natural stance, alright? I might even move that over a little more even, okay? So something like that is going to be about natural, okay? Also, in the abdomen region here, we've got kind of some shaping problems going on. You know, you can see this is kind of coming out at an angle and just swooping back, and this is pretty flat back here, and there's not really too much definition of the hips in this area. Okay, so also we've got this kind of sharp, sudden change of direction going on here as well. So we want to address those kind of things and really improve our shaping. All right. You know, another thing, when we look from the side here, you know, we've got this nice rounded shape, and then as it comes around here, it becomes quite flat to the point where the center line is really directly in line with either edge that's closer to the outside of the body. Okay, so these are all kind of in a perfect straight line when you look at it from the side, and you know, we kind of want to avoid that because we have these lines in here to help improve our shape. All right, so we want to make sure that we're always taking advantage of any lines that we have, the edges that we have, and using them to help further the shape that we're going for. Okay, so you know, you want to pull those out a little bit. It doesn't have to be anything super dramatic. You know, something a lot of people do is pull something out way far, but you know, it can be just something pretty small, and it really will make a difference. And then, you know, on the edge here as well, I might bring this in a little more. Okay, just again keeping that sort of rounded feeling. All right. Of course, when I move things that way, it's going to cause things to be a little off in other directions. So, you know, make sure anytime you're moving something that you're looking at it from multiple directions and double checking how it appears when seen from different directions. And I'm kind of working on both sides now, but again, really, you should just focus on one side, improving one side, all right? And then you can just redo the mirroring process, okay? Now, you know, one thing here is this particular area, the spacing is not doing too well here because we've got kind of these nice square polygons, all right, going on. We've got squares here, squares, squares, squares. They're all about the same size and same shape, and then all of a sudden, when we get to this chest area, we have these really long, stretched out rectangles, okay? So we really want to avoid any areas where we've got much smaller polygons next to much larger, longer ones, all right? So you really want things to be as evenly spaced as possible. So for that, I would definitely pull things up a little bit until you have something that's a little bit more like about the same size polygons next to one another, okay? And of course, when you pull things up like that, you're going to have to adjust other things as well to keep with that flow, all right? So it's gonna, you know, it's gonna affect the whole loop, not just one area. And again, I'm only gonna do this on one side. So I'm gonna leave the other side looking a little crazy for now, but just to kind of demonstrate, just trying to keep with the natural curves of the body, keeping spacing in mind, and keeping your edge flow in mind. So I'm moving these all up quite a bit at this point. So you'll want something a little bit more like that, all right? Over here as well, I kind of did this on the other side, but I didn't come over here and do it, and since we're we've sort of decided to work with this side. I'll come over here and do it as well. Where we're just kind of bringing this in just a little bit to help with that nice curving shape that we've got. All right. So that's going to improve the look of your model quite a bit once you have tackled that area. Now, other thing that I'm seeing here with your connection is that we don't really have the belt line in place, okay? So, you know, that's something that you'll want to go through and add just by, you know, once you've improved all of your shaping, you can, of course, just come into your Insert Edge Loop tool right here, and you can just add that and change the color of these faces down at the bottom here to create sort of a belt line for yourself. It's not totally necessary, it's just part of this project, so, you know, not too important there, but it's there. So this area, yeah, again, we were talking about this kind of area right here. I would really pull some of these back a little bit, alright? Keep that nice rounded shape going, because it's kind of becoming flat at the front here, alright? We want to keep things smooth and rounded and curved. And also, as well here, we've got, as I said, this kind of jagged line. This is dipping that's occurring, alright? So we actually really want to keep that a nice, smooth transition. Don't want any pointy lines, usually. In this case, we don't. And again, spacing, where, you know, we've got a whole bunch of polygons right here that are just kind of super tiny and all very thin, and then we've got these great big ones right above. So, you know, sometimes we want things to be right up on top of one another like that to help define areas a little better, like our belt loop. Okay, but for this area, we really want things to be spaced out pretty evenly. Okay, so I'm going to bring a lot of this stuff way up to just help the shaping that's going on here. And you can see where it's kind of almost dipping in a little bit as well. So this one, for example, I'm gonna bring back quite a ways. Okay, I'm gonna bring this back this way. All right, and of course, as soon as I have brought that back, you know, it's creating this little V shape. So I'm gonna have to bring other things back as well to help round things out. All right, keeping those round curves as much as we can. So I've brought that back, bringing some things down, over, around, you know. It's just a lot of eyeballing, really, a lot of this stuff. So I'm going to bring this down as well, and back. On this, I'll also bring down and back. And again, you know, it's just a process of looking at things from many different angles and trying to determine the best possible position for your vertices to keep some smooth curves going. Okay, so now he's got kind of like this little belly thing going on, so, you know, this we'll bring back a little as well. Okay. And again, keeping in mind that you don't want to bring your center line back so far that it's dipping inwards, or that it's perfectly flat, but should be a little bit swooping in this area. Okay, so it looks a little funny from the side right now because we haven't actually adjusted the other side, so it's kind of showing the other side as well. So, you know, let's go ahead and deal with that while we're here, so that we can kind of see what the final effect should look like. Alright, I'm going to pull that back as well. And a lot of it is just going to be pulling these verts back a little bit. Alright, just reining them in. Anywhere where you've got kind of jagged edges kind of poking out from nowhere on your legs or anything like that, you'll want to just kind of smooth out and readjust, reevaluate. So in the end, it should look something like that. Obviously, you know, your one side should match the other side a little bit better than I've done right here at the moment. But again, we're just kind of quickly going through this and just dealing with it. Okay. So something like that would be good for the one side. All right. And then again, you know, I just encourage just working on one side. And then when you are happy with the way one side is looking, we can easily just delete this other side and repeat the process to mirror the geometry. Okay, we can just instantaneously fix any issues that we have on both sides without going through and manually dealing with all of them. Okay, all right. So you can see the geometry on this side is behaving a little better. So one thing here as well, which is similar to what was happening with your arm here, where we just kind of had this long connection, all right, is also happening with your leg. Okay, so we've got this perfectly horizontal leg edge loop here, and the hips up here actually got this nice sweeping curve. All right, so we never want to just kind of suddenly change shape when we're working with, you know, organic objects. We want curves to be kind of gradually changing their shape over the length of the body, all right? So what I mean by that is that if we've got this nice curve up here, then there should be some kind of transition, like a smoothing out of these curves as we go down the leg until we get to something that's perfectly horizontal, okay? So I'll show you what I mean here. I would take, you know, some of these curves from the leg here on this top perfectly horizontal edge loop, and I would pull them up so that they are kind of mimicking this curve that we've already established up here. All right, I might move that a little bit too. You know, I can change the curves around and do whatever I want there, as long as it's looking like natural. So we want to kind of follow again that curve that we've established for the hips. All right, I'm going to pull this in quite a bit. Okay. Something like that, maybe. And you know, you may also want to pull these down to keep your spacing from getting too crowded up in this hip region, all right? Just always checking your spacing and how the curve of your lines are flowing, all right? So now we've got kind of a nicer transition into the leg here. This one is still perfectly flat. It's probably okay to leave it that way, or if you prefer, you can kind of curve this as well a little bit. All right, and just, you know, the idea is as you get into this horizontal area, you'll be curving these edge loops less and less. Alright. Until eventually they kind of fit into that horizontal shape. Just making a gradual shift from super curvy to just totally horizontal. So something about like this is probably fine. You know, you may want to work on these curves on the back of the leg here and smoothing them out just a little bit more. And again, just working on your spacing. Alright, so that's the idea with the legs and that transition from the leg into the thighs, okay? Let's see. Chest area is looking pretty good. And the back as well is looking alright now that we've kind of dealt with this middle section. Let's deal some more with the abdomen. This really is quite flat, and should pull it out a bit, okay? To help define this abdomen area, alright? So I'm going to pull that out. You know, obviously that's a little bit dramatic, but I'm just going to grab some of these faces and rotate them and move them inwards to kind of help this shape that we're getting here. Okay, same here with the bottom faces as well. We'll just rotate them a little, pull them in. Okay, so that's now giving us a little better shape there. And then, of course, because we have this curved shape here and this kind of straight up and down shape here, we want to just kind of gradually lead into that curve, all right? So we're just kind of making sure that things are gradually changing shape. No jagged lines or sudden changes in direction. I might move this up as well. Okay. So everything's kind of naturally flowing into these different areas. This too I will bring down a little bit and improve the curves for. And I might bring this up because again I've got these really big long faces here next to some really tiny short ones. So, you know, keeping with the idea of keeping our spacing even, I want these to all be about the same size as one another and keep these polygons looking about the same size as one another as well. Alright? Oops. And you know, we can nitpick all these verts all day, but that's the basic idea of things that you should be looking at and things you should be addressing. All right. Let me know if you have any questions about anything that we went over in the video today. Other than that, that's it for this video. Remember, once you're done with one side here, to just delete this other half and mirror your character over again. All right. So that's it, and happy modeling!